Hey, welcome everyone to one of my favorite streams of the week. Talking
Hello.
devilish deeds. Welcome Jay from True Serial here with me to help with the Morphew case. Hello to everybody in the chat. My moderators, always grateful. Raven, Davros, Peter, student, Mrs. Cassandra, Reagan, welcome. Josh, welcome. Uh, Anybody I missed in between? Sorry, I can't see everything on the chat right away. But bring forth your questions as we go. This is the part we like, right, Jay? We get to talk about all of these evil misdeeds of somebody else and whether they did it or not. Which is, Here, where do we start? The Morphew, Barry Morphew. For those of you that may not be familiar with the case, let me just give you a tiny little synopsis. Barry Morphew is being accused of the disappearance and alleged murder of his wife, Suzanne Morphew, who disappeared on Mother's Day in 2020. The case took almost a year of gathering of evidence before in May they filed an affidavit for warrant and probable cause, which was issued. He was arrested, brought before a preliminary hearing where he pled not guilty. They brought evidence up. They proceeded to trial. However, he was granted bail based on the judges looking at the evidence and saying, well, there could be a little bit of shadow of a doubt. And on that, then we get into the hot mess that it is, AJ.
Oh, there's so much evidence to say he did it, but there's also evidence that says he didn't do it. So it's kind of, I mean, they're going to have another evidentiary hearing on December 14th, and just, I mean, because the case is slated for May of next year.
Yes,
To
May
actually
of
start. So
2022. Yeah, May, sometime late May 2022, I believe was the date. But that evidential hearing is going to be really quite interesting because they have brought forward quite a few challenges against the evidence. One of them would be, as we mentioned, I think in one of our other episodes, that Barry Morphew and his defense team are actually suing everybody involved in the investigation right now because of evidence not coming forward, the fact that the DNA crossed over to a registered sex offender in another state that they found on certain items. I think that's what we wanted to talk about first, yeah, Jay? Well,
yeah,
let's talk
that.
the DNA.
First off, I want to get to the DNA, but I want to talk about the stuff that the defense is
Mm-hmm.
suing for, because one is the DNA evidence, which we'll get into that. Two, which is in the affidavit for the arrest affidavit, but was not provided to the defense, was the recordings from the spy pen. Now, according to the affidavit, it's pretty much that's all just her on the spy pen.
Mm-hmm.
But if that was the case, why don't they turn that over to the defense? Why is that a why wouldn't the prosecution turn that over?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
that's kind of one
yeah,
of those looking at
like
kind of odd.
it does, because I think really with the spy pen, most of it was her dictation, right? There was one conversation where he was in the vehicle, wasn't it? That she recorded him being a little
It was
strange.
an argument between the two of them. There's a conversation between her and her 2-year boyfriend, Jeff Lieber.
Jeff Lieber, yes.
Yep. And then there was like 5 or 6 hours of him listening to like forensic filed podcasts
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
his truck. So
Right, and that is like, so perhaps they were using it all as interview material to get to know Jeff Lieber, or to put on Suzanne to see where her head was at with some of it. Who knows? But it should have been. All evidence needs to be with both parties at all times. I mean, that's why it takes so long for these warrants and affidavits to come out with the probable cause. That's why it took a year for them to piece everything together.
one of the things, it says attorneys provide other examples of alleged mishandling a case. They claim the affidavit admits other evidence, including
Mhm.
an alleged incident involving a tranquilizer dart.
Yeah. And that was I know about that one. I read an article where that comes from, the body cam while they're collecting evidence. You know, the investigators, the sheriffs, the deputies, everybody, they're wearing body cams and all, so that everything's getting recorded at the whole time. It's being visually and audio recorded the whole time. And one of the sheriff's deputies had said something along the lines like, "I do not believe that that dot is functional. It's not working, or it's not of functional nature," or some quote like that. And the evidence now the defense is saying, well, why should it even be in evidence if it was from a non-functional gun? We don't think it was operational. You shouldn't even be looking at that. And so, as far as I'm concerned, that kind of screams loudly on both sides. I admit to being a little taking larger leaps than most on what things could be, but to me, that speaks loudly of, let's just get that evidence thrown out because that means something. Like, I'm trying to think like a defense attorney right now, and the fact that they're even bringing the case against them based on the DNA. Now, granted, the DNA was gathered and it was in testing, and it is unclear to me, based on the articles, on whether they knew who exactly all the DNA belonged to at the time that they did the warrant for arrest. Okay, and maybe they didn't disclose the name of the person, the unknown male DNA, but they did disclose it was unknown male DNA all along. They just didn't say it was a sex offender. Well, here's the thing. If you go to your preliminary hearing and you're going to see whether it's going to go forward to go to trial, and you're in front of the judge, and the judge now has all the evidence, right? And that's how it works here in the United States. It's part of the process. So, you know, Barry has gone, he's been arrested, he gets to say whether he's guilty or not, and then he gets to hear the evidence, they get to present the evidence to see if it should go forward, if it's up to muster, so to speak, if it's going to if it's worth the court costs, okay? So the judge says that, yeah, there's enough there for this to proceed, but I don't think it's a slam dunk. So Barry's getting bail, because a lot of people were questioning, why is Barry going to get bail? But, you know, the judge clearly states in several articles that he was quoted in that he does think there's a lot here, but he also thinks there's some things that don't, you know, that could be explained away. So Barry gets to fight the case, and the case goes to trial. Okay. Here's the thing. Once you get that little, to me, that's like a foot in the door for the defense, right? Like, there's a foot in the door. So if I'm the defense, like, I'm going to run with it. Let's start attacking every part of the evidence we can. There's already doubt here, and that is their job, beyond reasonable doubt, right? So what do you focus on? Every single area that there is doubt. So in like, the prosecution's going to be looking at the stronghold parts, like, let us not forget hours worth of disposing of something, Jay, in a hotel room, back and forth to the dumpster over and over and over again.
The thing I have, the issue I have with that one is, if they know the locations and they know what happened,
where's the stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Where's the stuff? I mean, because it's not like the stuff is taken and incinerated somewhere. It's taken to a dump and dumped. And I have yet to see anything anywhere saying that the prosecution is looking into the dump,
right,
to try and find these so-called bags.
Yeah, that's why I was so on that. I'm like, here we go. He's walking in the affidavit. They show a picture of Barry Morphew going into the hotel, motel, wherever it was, and he's got a backpack and he has all this stick, and he has an article of like light blue turquoise clothing exposed that he's carrying with him. And in the reports, it says that was the type of clothing that Suzanne Morphew may have been wearing at the time of her disappearance, because Barry had given himself an interview that said that she often wore that to go
that's
hiking.
If you look at the arrest warrant, excuse me, it's on it's 131 pages, but it's page 23 is where he's talking to what's her name?
Hold on.
Yeah, I pulled it. I had to go back to the God, what's your name? Jennifer?
Yes. Let's just see. Oh, it's Mother's Day. Okay, let's see.
God, what was her name? I don't remember what her name was. Jenny.
Oh yeah,
Jenny
identified
Ritter.
Cushman's cleaning lady and lady's daughter and boyfriend as possible suspicious people he was talking about. Janine Ritter. Yes.
Yeah. So if you scroll down that just a hair, so you can pull that paragraph up just a hair.
In regards to the call
Right
to
there.
Janine
Yeah,
Ritter?
where she says
Yes.
she calls me, says, "Hey, her car is here," and I said, "Well, is your bike there?" She said, "Where does he keep the bike?" I said, "Well, he pulls it out, or pull out her car. It should be right near the car." She goes, "There's no bike. Something. Look here in the back." And I said, "Well, she's riding her bike, but I'm a little concerned because I think she was gonna take a morning ride." And then
Mhm.
Barry states that she doesn't ride without a helmet, which is light to light blue helmet. Her
Mhm.
favorite biking outfit is blue. I haven't been to the house to see if they're there or not, but if the detectives, if you guys didn't find it, then it's probably what she was wearing.
Yeah, was the blue one missing?
Yeah,
Light blue
helmet.
outfit. She's a matcher, light blue shirt. But that was that in her closet, or did you guys find it? It is focused on the clothing, but
Yeah.
you know,
Now
it was missing, and
with
that's not
that,
normal. Yeah.
with that, um, the whole context of he was carrying an article of clothing that was blue kind of gives you a sense that maybe he had part of her outfit, but there's no proof that that's what it was. I mean, I haven't seen
Hmm.
anything anywhere else that talks about that blue piece of clothing
Right.
other than that one picture.
Hmm. They did find the helmet. Yes, they did find the helmet.
I think
When
it was with the
searching
bike,
for the bike.
wasn't it?
It was no, it was farther down. There's actually evidence of it was found within a trail that they traced the GPS of his truck. During that, they showed like where the helmet. There's a picture in the affidavit that shows. Let me just see if I can pull that up real quick. That shows where they found the helmet and the. I wish the pictures were separate. Sorry for the scrolling, everyone. If that makes you dizzy.
Now
Um,
I know page 6 has a picture of where the bike was located.
That's a picture of the bike, right? Oh, so then
Yeah,
maybe it's
where
closer
they
to that.
found the bike. I didn't see a picture of where they found the helmet.
You know, I should use technology and just go like 6, right? Instead of
Yeah.
scrolling like I'm a Neanderthal of technology here. Sorry people. Yeah. So here is the picture. I did to see it clearly. It is a little dark, but you see between the two trees and up towards the top, you can see the bike there on the hide. And the Deputy Brown examined the front rim of that tire. There was no. They remarked. All of the investigators were remarking on how if the bike is tossed up there like that, yeah, why is there
Hmm.
no damage on it? There was no damage on the spokes, the wheels. I
Yeah,
just like to note
if
that.
you
Yeah.
scroll up just a little bit onto page 5, the last paragraph actually talks about where they found the bike. Yep, right there.
Mm-hmm.
So it says the vegetation around the bike was not flattened in the area where a human body would have landed. There was no blood around the bike, nor was there any apparent damage to the bike. Due to
Mm-hmm.
the steepness of the incline, the bike should have been damaged if an accident had occurred. When Deputy
Mm-hmm.
Brown moved the bike up to the path, he noticed that the front brake pad was seized and the handlebars were turned completely to the left, causing the brake cables to wrap around the bike frame. Examined the dirt shoulder of CR225 immediately above the area where the bike was recovered and did not observe any braking marks from the bicycle.
Right. And so that's
So
all like contrary to like an accident happening
yeah,
or
that
it
looks more like somebody grabbed the bike and tossed it up there.
yes, that it was
Yeah.
placed or tossed into the
Mm-hmm.
position that it was found. So it may have been moved from its original location there, or from the ground tossed up there out of the way. But it was altered with, and this is how they think some of the DNA has got on there. This is how, because they were touching the bike, this is how the investigators' DNA is all on there. Because that did come up in the DNA report too, that there was multiple things of DNA found on the handlebars of this bike. And it is said that some of the unknown male DNA was there too. I'm going to stop sharing this while I scroll because this might be driving people crazy. My apologies. Um, put it back over to us while I look. But I want to find. I'm trying. I just saw that picture before, and I should have marked that page down. But it's like with every piece of evidence, we can look at it, and as it is with all evidence in all cases, you can look at it two different ways. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're really critically looking at it, you've got to look at it both ways, right? And it's really which one stands out stronger. You know what I mean? Which one makes the most sense, or depending on what side you're on, which one fits the narrative that you're telling at the time, right? Um,
Now here's
so
yeah. So yeah, there's a good question from student. Is that why were the investigators not wearing gloves?
so they were in most cases, but
Yeah.
that's a good, very good question. Like, how do the investigators' DNA get on the handlebars of the bike? They should have been wearing gloves because obviously Barry was, because Barry just told everybody that he took that bike out in the morning and put it out for her to go bike riding because he knew she was going bike riding. So his DNA is not on that bike. Like, was he wearing gloves? Did he wipe the bike? I don't know.
Um. So I wanna get away from the bike evidence because the bike evidence is kind of it's kind of iffy.
Mm-hmm.
Um. It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, Barry could have done it. Somebody else could have done it. Who knows? What I want to get into is the actual DNA evidence that was found on the glove box.
Right.
Um, that's the one I think is interesting
Mm-hmm.
because that leaves the door open that somebody else was involved.
Yes, if she was taken from her car or there was
Mhm.
somebody else in the vicinity. But, and I get that. That makes a big window. But just like the defense can say that means that somebody was there to do it, it could also mean somebody was rifling through her vehicle
Mhm.
anywhere she was parked during any errand at any time. Because is DNA dated? Does it say when it was deposited?
No,
No.
I don't think you can determine that
No.
unless you
So,
know exactly when the time of
right.
the
And
action
being
occurred.
Right, and being that is only on the glove box, yes. So you would think that if there was a struggle, if it was an unknown person, if it's a violent person, as is indicated, a sexual offender, um, you would think there would be something else in the vehicle. Plus, I'm looking for the plus. Like every time I see a piece of evidence, I'm going and, that's after,
Mhm.
and what correlates with that to make that make sense. So in the glove box, do you know that could have even been a gas station attendant?
It's
That,
possible, yeah. Now,
yeah.
here's
I mean,
something that then this is something that I kind of find odd in this case. So, um, let's see. The defense noted that Cahill, which is Agent Joseph Cahill, confirmed the match that was questioned by Morphew's attorney, Iris Etten. Da da da. So the defense noted Cahill was listed as a CBI contact in letters sent to investigators in the 3 cities where the sexual assault occurred. Cahill confirmed during questioning that he was the person who collected the mysterious man's DNA sample, but did not personally follow up on the 3 matches because he went on military leave soon after.
mm-hmm,
The
mm-hmm,
agent said the coworker would have to follow up on these leads, but from what I understand, at this point, it hadn't been updated yet because on page 19 of the arrest warrant, it says Cahill said his military leave precluded him from reviewing or editing past page 19 of the 126-page arrest warrant.
mm-hmm,
Prosecutors and the judge in the case have dismissed repeat immediate requests for release of the original arrest warrant, which we do know at this time has been released. They've released over
mm-hmm.
400 pages of evidence,
Yes. I,
and
I,
different hearings and stuff. So, because this
yeah.
this article I'm reading was from August 25th.
Right. On November 9th, they opened up everything. So
Mm.
there is an article listed below in the description of this video, which you can follow links to find all of the documentation and the things that were released. There are like separate links in the article that go to all the documentation. If you'd like to follow it up and you're curious, like we are, to read these like little tidbits of detailed information about what was actually said, what they're actually submitting, and what is in the court. It's actually some of the court filings. So if you'd like, because that, if you're like me, I want to see it in black and white, but that is, I'm thinking that the DNA alone, like, here's my, I realize they have a case against the prosecution if they didn't come forward with what the DNA evidence was. Okay. But if the DNA evidence doesn't indicate Barry at all, like there's no DNA there from Barry on these items, right? Not in the
Yeah.
vehicle, not on the bike, not on the. I think they found it on the inside of the helmet. They might have found Barry's DNA. They found DNA. I have to double check that. So don't Don't come at me if that's wrong, people, because I have doubt I'm remembering that correctly, because there's so much to remember. But I do believe that his DNA was eventually found on something related to the evidence of the case. But in most cases, it wasn't. Now, that to me, just like that has bothered me from the start of the case. Like, I don't know.
The
It
fact that
should,
they couldn't find his DNA on stuff
yes,
doesn't
yes,
see, that doesn't bother me at all.
yes. See, that,
Because for me, that's just a case of, yeah, he's a contractor, so it is quite possible he was wearing gloves when he moved her bike. So yeah,
mm-hmm,
I mean, because contractors, if anybody's work construction, no, contractors wear gloves all the time. It could have just been a simple pick the bike up, moved it out of the way,
mm-hmm,
and just didn't leave his DNA. I'm
mm,
still stuck on the DNA evidence in the Jeep. I think
okay.
there's enough there, and the fact that the prosecution didn't release that information to the defense to give a part of a reasonable doubt that there may be somebody else involved. And I think this is a case of the detectives and the prosecution latched onto one person and
Mm-hmm.
is refusing to look at any other options.
It could be. It could definitely lead that way, and it could get tossed for that reason. If I was the defense, I'd keep hammering on it and try
Yeah.
to get the whole case tossed, because what they would want is if the evidence is coming up under scrutiny, yeah, then the
Mm-hmm.
first thing you want to do is get this out of the court and back to a grand jury and let them look at the evidence again and decide whether it goes to trial, because that's the best outcome for your client, right? To get the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing just removed. He doesn't even have to fight it. Like, just get the charges dropped. Tell them they can't go forward. That would be the best outcome for him. It may not clear his name because it's not an innocent declaration, but it's not charged. So his reputation still takes a little bit of a hit, but it is the best outcome as far as time management. It doesn't have to go through it. There's no iffy whether he's going to be innocent or not. That's how I'd be fighting it. But I'm not a lawyer. I'm just
Yeah,
speculating.
I want to make sure that we state that we are not lawyers.
Nope, and nope. We don't
We are
even work.
just
Yep, we're just
yeah,
sitting
we
at
are
home.
just speaking of past experiences from listening to cases, reading up on
Hmm.
cases. Because this true crime isn't something I just started dabbling in. I've been into it for years.
Hmm.
So when I talk about certain things, it's because of a lot of similarities from a lot of different cases where the
Hmm.
same or different outcomes have come out. So
It is. And just knowing the legal proceedings, you have to know a little bit about it. I talk just from the belly of my passion on these people. I'm not a paralegal. I don't work for lawyers. I just love this. I read this. I eat this. I breathe this. I talk this with my friends. Jay and I talk about this
mhm.
now, like, all the time. And not just one case, like just lots of different interesting cases that are currently going on, and things that are from the past too. Like, I read almost all the autobiographies of the serial killers and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and crime
Student.
books. And
Yeah, student does bring up a good point because sometimes the lack of DNA is more incriminating than the presence. That's true.
bingo. That's where I
That
am, because
that
Jimmy,
is true. I'll give you that one. But
it's her husband.
there,
It's her husband.
yes,
It's her
but
husband. Yeah.
and speaking for the other side, for the defense side on this aspect, if
Yeah.
she was an avid biker, like biked all the time, which he claims that she did,
Hmm.
um, bikers will wash their bikes. So if she happened to wash the bike recently, that would have cleared all of his DNA off the bike.
And then
You
he
know,
just, what, in
and
the
like I
morning,
said,
that morning, he picked it up with gloves. He just
if
happened
it's
to use
possible.
gloves that
I'm not
morning.
saying that's what happened. I'm just giving in a defense type of situation, I could see that being the case.
Hmm. And what about the inside of the vehicle of the car that he pulls the bike out of regularly, he says, and that he helps her get things in and out? Why is there no DNA there, Jay? Did she
Well,
wash
I
the
haven't
inside of
heard
the
that they
car?
didn't find any DNA in her car.
They
I
didn't
heard that
find
they
any of
found
Barry's DNA. They
I
didn't
see.
find.
I hadn't seen where they hadn't found any of his DNA. I just know that
I
they
haven't
found
seen it.
other DNA
Yeah, I
because
know
you would
they.
expect his DNA to be in the car.
Yeah, I would expect to find his DNA like in a lot of places. They, but Anyway, just playing devil's advocate. I
Yeah.
appreciate that we can banter back and forth about the defense and the prosecution, and we keep switching sides too. If anybody notices, sometimes I'm like giving the defense a little kudos, and then sometimes I'm like all over there for the prosecution. But that's how we like to do it. We like to look at all sides of it. Anyway, this case is damn fascinating. Nobody could say that this case doesn't have some kind of teeth. Just the speculation alone on almost every piece of evidence that we're coming up with now, just being able to look at it two different ways means that maybe it should go to trial. Maybe they both should have the opportunity to prove their case or disprove their case. Yeah, because
Yeah, I want to bring something up here. Let
mhm.
me see if I can find it again. Because I want to show something
Do
that
you need a page
strikes
for
me.
that? Yeah.
I gotta find it again. I gotta remember
Okay.
which. It was the other one. Hang on, let me look.
Mhm.
Actually, I can just do it this way. There it is.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna bring this up. Let me get to the right point. Okay.
Okay.
I want you guys to watch something here
Okay.
because this is very telling.
Okay.
Hang on, crap, I didn't share audio. That
You
would be
know, I
kind of hard to
you
share this and not share the audio with you.
No, that's okay because I'm just happy that you do that too because like and you've been at this a lot longer than I have. It's just so easy to make those mistakes with the little boxes and stuff.
All right,
Okay, so you're
go
ready
ahead and
to
click
add
on
it.
that. Yep.
There you
Now
go. Oh,
this is
yeah.
Barry's plea um for her return. Now I want to listen to
Hmm.
this carefully, and then we'll
Hmm.
talk about it after he's done.
A mom
Okay.
missing since Mother's Day is making a dramatic plea for her safe return.
No questions asked. However much they want, I will do whatever it takes to get you back. Honey, I love you. I want you back so bad.
Mama
Now,
Okay.
obviously, that's not the entirety of that plea,
Hmm.
but it's basically that's what the entire plea is like. What gets me, and so Raven had mentioned something about some people talking about he's shaking his head. That whatever the people do that when they talk. Um,
Hmm.
it's the fact that there was no facial expression changed in that entire
Hmm.
thing. He was
Well,
stone cold faced.
hmm the whole
There
time.
was, I mean, you
Hmm.
could hear a little bit of something in his voice, but there was no
Hmm.
change in facial features. If you can
Hmm.
find the entire video, watch the entire plea, because
Hmm.
his face is like that through the entire thing.
Yeah.
That for me is telling in the fact that he knows more than what he's leading on to.
And I can confirm that some of how the YouTubers out there like Todd Grande and some others that like to do the body language
Mm-hmm.
things. There are ones out there that just focus on true crime cases, several, and they all are saying that although Raven said about the shaking of the head and you discredited it, but it's a big tell, especially when he's spending all his time trying to control his face,
Mm-hmm.
trying to control his mannerisms, and yet his body is still going no, 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 no. They said that was one of the biggest tells ever. And so I give you credit for that, Raven, because you pick up on that. He's using his whole body to control the situation, and yet his body is turning on him at the same time, and like with the no, no, no. So that was a big tell, and I agree. One of the biggest things that the investigators threw out, if you take the time, if you're a glutton for punishment or you love this stuff as much as we do, and you take the time to read the 131-page affidavit, which you can find the links below in that article, I'm sure one of them will be the arrest warrant. You will find several interviews with Barry that they were very meticulous, the investigators. They kept coming back to him and he kept changing his story because it was his affect. The biggest thing they noticed is how he tried to control the situation. He tried to control the interview. He tried to control the amount of information that got out. Barry Morphew, by all accounts, through all of his friends and associates and workers, is known to be a control freak. from
Yeah.
Suzanne's mouth alone. He is definitely wants to be in control of everything all of the time. So they interviewed over and over again, and the story changed every time they let him know a little bit more information they had. He would feed the narrative around the information they had. Now, to me, when I'm reading it, that screamed loudly to me as to why they pushed forward. Everybody's going, well, the physical evidence, it could be this, it could be that. But you have to always remember, in an investigation, you've got trained detectives and investigators that are looking at a person and their mannerisms, and more than just a physical piece of evidence. Yes, we need tons of that. Like, he cannot. All right, Barry Morphew should not be declared guilty and go to jail just because we don't like him, because he's not a good person, like because
Yeah, that's
he
true.
doesn't
Just
present
because
well.
he's just
Okay,
because he's a dick
right.
doesn't mean he did it.
However, should we investigate him more because he's presenting like a control freak narcissist who like is trying to cover something up? I think maybe they might be onto something. Like, if they're saying there are some red flags going up here, then yes, pursue it and look at it more deeply. Suzanne's own words over and over again expressed that something was going to happen. Okay, one of the children who has backtracked now actually gave an interview who said, I knew something was going to happen to my mother that weekend. Things were getting very heated. Not exact words, don't quote me, but along that line, you'll find an interview in there where she states that they were afraid to leave her alone if he was going to come home. That speaks loudly, to me.
Mm-hmm.
Friends who also had conversations. Okay, when the boyfriend was first interviewed, one of the first things he told the detectives is, I don't believe you're going to find her alive. She was very afraid of what was going to, she knew something was going to happen. She
Well,
said, I don't think you're going to find her alive. He was very aggressive. There was more going on there than you know. He finally told them that, and they started digging deeper.
I heard something today. Now, I don't know how credible this is or anything like that. There was somebody had said, and I don't remember who said it. Raven's got a better memory than I do, and she was listening to it when I was. Somebody said that there is a possibility that she isn't actually in Ecuador because her and her boyfriend had talked about leaving Barry and moving to Ecuador. So there's a possibility that's where she's at and hiding out, waiting for things to die down before Jeff goes and joins her. Now, I do know Jeff is no longer in Colorado. He is actually living in Michigan now.
Right, but he's not in Ecuador, is he?
But he's not in Ecuador. So,
so
yeah. But like I said, I don't know how credible that is. I just remember hearing it today when I was looking through some videos.
Okay, she has children. Yes, she's a mother.
But they're grown.
I know.
Children.
Yes.
Yeah.
But mothers and daughters, grown or not, do you think she'd do that? Do you think she would allow her children to think she's dead and that their father, killed her?
What mother? At this point, it is hard to say, especially if she was afraid for her life. She may disappear, and she may keep that hidden from her children just so it doesn't get back to him. Okay. Now, mind you, I don't have any credit. I don't have any evidence. Right. That I'm just stating this is what was said.
If anyone finds the article or the link to the YouTube video or the Twitter that said that, could you just forward it to my DM?
Always Grateful had said that I read that today too, but I can't remember who saw it.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will come across it again. But just because we are speaking about it, I'd like to, get the link for it and put it, where we heard it. Just to keep everything, going together. Because, people are saying so much, but I tend to think it would have to be I'm not going to say that Suzanne Morphew's life was great when she was home, but the conversations back and forth, it was tense. It was not agreeable. She was trying to get out, whatever. She felt controlled. But the physical violence end of it, I don't see like some of the trauma the evidence of it, the way you might if her life was that much like she was that if she was being abused in that manner. Can I say it that way? Like to where she wouldn't let her children know where she was. Do you know what I mean? Like for safety
Yeah.
reasons.
I want to show
Oh,
something else here. This is kind
sure.
of, for me, this is kind of telling also on the fact that watch his daughters. We don't need any
Hmm.
audio for this.
Okay,
But I
I'll
want
put
you to
it up.
watch.
Just
This is Barry. This is Barry leaving the jail as he posts bond with his two
oh
daughters.
yes. Oh, this
Watch
upset. Go ahead.
watch his
Yeah.
daughters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this isn't the same video.
No, is it?
Let
Is
me
it
let
you?
me This is a different video. Let me find it,
Okay, find the
the
other
other
one.
video, because that one's not the right one. There's
Mm-hmm.
another one
Mm-hmm.
I want
I
to find.
was based on what I read in the affidavit about what the one daughter was saying. I was very surprised to see how well, not very surprised because after all it is their father, but it was conflicting for me. I'll say that it was conflicting for me to see how supportive they were, and to get him out of jail, and as if there's no possible way that he could have done this. They did seem very happy to have him out, and they even seemed protective to me. Some of the, even in that short clip, some of the
Yeah.
arm movements and what they were doing.
Here it is.
Yeah.
I think this is the one. Let me verify this real quick if this
Mm-hmm.
is the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, this is the one. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. This is the one I was looking for. So this is telling for me that I don't believe his daughters believe he killed their mother. So
Yeah, I
watch
don't
his two daughters.
see the smiles. Look, they're
The
very happy.
smiles,
Full
you
teeth.
know,
Full
they're
teeth. Yeah.
protective of their father.
Mm-hmm.
They're smiling. There's no, it doesn't seem like any tension between the daughters and the father.
No, only
I
with the
think,
pets. Only with outside people.
yeah.
Inside the nucleus of the family, there seems to be extreme support.
Mhm.
And like they don't think it does not look like they think he did it all. Which I don't know. Do you recall the one statement I'm talking about with the one daughter with the boyfriend that they didn't want to leave her alone that weekend because her dad was coming home, and
No,
then
I don't remember
yeah,
seeing that.
mm, I'll bring that up for the
Yeah.
next one. But it
Yeah, like Raven said the daughters seemed very happy when they bailed him out and protective.
mm, and
So
very protected. Yeah, yep.
so
Yeah,
for
I
me
agree.
that tells a lot that the daughters themselves don't believe that the father did it. And now you got to think about this. These are the daughters of these two. They have inside knowledge on that family dynamic between Barry and Suzanne. If they don't feel that Barry would have been
Mhm.
able to do something like that, they wouldn't be as protective and very happy that he's out. There would be some kind of a dynamic there where they'd be scared. Hey, there was all this tension between the two. We think he would have
Mhm.
done something. You don't see that in anything that in now, mind you, those are just two quick
Right,
clips.
right.
So
Contrary to what the one daughter. Now the names have been blanked out, so I don't know if this is the older or the younger daughter here. But they were talking to her on May 11th interview, and they were talking about her bedding being at the Morphew's house, stripped from her bed. She said that her bed was always made. Evidence was that bed had been stripped and washed. She said her bed was always made. Her sheets and pillowcases are light blue, and it identified that those were the sheets from her room. They spoke with her, and she admitted that her parents argued a lot and that she feared they would separate or divorce. She said that they were not doing well and that it was for the best that they would separate. Reported that Barry and Suzanne were both in an unsafe place emotionally, saying both of them were. You know, she
mm,
stated him, meaning her and my dad are different people, and they, Suzanne and Barry, argue, and I mean they get in fights, and I don't know, they both have just not felt safe at some point. And she added that Suzanne and Barry weren't getting along and discussed divorce. And she mentions, I think it's the boyfriend, was or someone was discussing if she had ever seen any text messages on her parents' phone. Oh, that's the daughter. I'm sorry, the daughter's name. She advised that she does not ever look at the messages on her phone. That was a claim of Barry's as to why he deleted stuff on his phone. He didn't want the daughters to see anything. And that was his claim as to why he deleted all the arguments he had with Suzanne.
Yeah, but
When
in that statement though, there's no discussion of
wait.
violence. It's just
Mhm.
discussion of divorce.
Okay, but wait, I'm getting to the
Okay, go
part
ahead.
that should be over. When daughter, I'll put that blank. You could see that it's redacted here. When daughter was asked if there was a possibility that her mom may have left home because she did not feel safe, daughter said her mom would never leave her. Daughter later said if Suzanne would have left, she would have contacted her and her sister to let them know she was okay. Daughter explained that she and her sister were heading back home on May 10th, like this is Mother's Day weekend, with their friend blank, but there were no plans for blank or blank to stay at the Morphew, daughter and her boyfriend, to stay at the Morphew house after the trip. Daughter said Suzanne always carried her cell phone with her and had a charging cable on her nightstand next to her bed. So they were planning to be with her that day, and and Suzanne, I don't see, you see, this is to me, and this is the point that I was bringing up before, a mother, if you're right, I mean, if there's any, I don't want to say right or wrong, if there's any credence to that option that she is actually in Ecuador or somewhere, I can't believe the daughters don't know, because here they were planning on, it was Mother's Day weekend. How cruel. I mean, does that not seem just a little too cruel for a mother to willingly leave her children with no notice on Mother's Day weekend when they have plans to come to the house and she's going to be missing, and then to let the dad, maybe she has things against the dad and she wants the dad to be charged for whatever. I could see that happening in a relationship that has that kind of tension and stuff. People get a little crazy, she may want to hurt him in some way, but to do that, to put it on her children that way, I just don't see. Everyone says she was so devoted to them. The daughters absolutely feel there's no way she would not let them know.
Now, see, I'm a little jaded on that statement because I have seen cases where everybody were like, oh, absolutely, the mother would never leave her children. And come to find out 10, 15 years later, they find the mother out in like California living a whole nother life.
But would you
So
say
I'm not saying it's the same for every case, but I tend to look at that statement and go, I'll believe it when I see it. Because there are too many other cases of, be it the father or their mother, just up and disappearing on the kids, and everybody going, oh, she would never leave her kids, or he would never leave it. And that's exactly what they do. So I don't put any credence on that statement until it can actually be proven. But that's me. I'm a little jaded on that one.
Yeah, but you see, it just doesn't fit for me because I don't see the violence that would have had to happen to a woman to leave her children right away. I mean, I do see threats there. I do see she was intimidated. I do see that she had a very uncomfortable life and she was on edge. I do see the tension. I see all that. I don't think it's to the level that she would leave her children like that without telling them. It doesn't mean I don't think she would leave. Of course, I think she would leave. She should have left. Absolutely. And been somewhere else, safer for herself. But to leave and not let your children know on purpose, that's a different story. Also, the one main reason she would leave is for happiness with her new relationship with the man she was having an affair with, Mr. Little. And listen, he's not there. He's not in Ecuador. He's in Michigan. And so unless Suzanne's in Michigan, I find it hard to go with this line of thinking. I do.
Oh, I know. I was just, like you said, I put that out there because there's something that I had heard today. And
no.
that
And
is a
I don't blame
possibility. So
and it is absolutely something that everybody, I like tossing those things around, but that's part of the fun of it, is part of why I like to do this particular stream, is we could take a piece of information like that you just brought out, and we all, with the chat, you and I, and anybody else who wants to come later into DMs or have a conversation, we can bat it around and say, what we think and feel, because we're not lawyers. We don't have to say, we don't have to prove it. We're just thinking and speculating because this case is so fascinating, I'm not trying to try Barry Morphew in the public. I believe he deserves a fair trial and goes to trial, but I do believe everything needs to be looked at. You know,
Okay,
there's a lot there.
I did locate where they found the bike helmet. It was 0.84 miles northwest of the site where the bicycle was located.
Right, and there was a straight line on the road from where he was before to where he ended up later. There was like a 5 miles and it was right on that path. Yes, because I believe there's a picture you'll find with arrows and diagrams
Yeah.
in the affidavit that points that out. I just couldn't find the exact page because, to be honest, I'm just not on my game today very much. Just putting it out there. I'm having fun with what we're talking about, but technically.
I can bring that page up real quick.
Oh, you found it? Thank you.
Yeah, I've got it.
This best part about having a co-host, people. It's like as knowledgeable as Jay. And by the way, his channel is linked in the description. If you like looking into serial killers, he does great videos. Right, he's doing great videos on the historical serial killers. They are awesome and full of detail. He just did Ivan Milat from it's Australia or New Zealand, and I came into that cold and I learned so much. It was fascinating. It was just absolutely fascinating. Love that video. So I'm not going to research anybody you're talking about anymore. I'm going to wait for you to do it because it's.
Yeah. So if you see right here,
that's what I was looking for.
This is the Morphew residence, right? This is the bike trail. Mm-hmm. This is where they found her bike was located right here. If you see how it goes around and comes up, there's her bike. Her helmet was found way up here.
Right. Well, they also tracked his GPS from there to there, right? There's another picture that shows where his GPS was tracked through the whole thing. Yeah.
I don't see that right offhand.
I know that's the one I was looking for. I couldn't find it either. I'm wondering if I saw it in an article instead of in
something else. Yeah, because I couldn't find that.
Yeah, it actually had just that strip of road there. And it had like the caption under there that the GPS, and it showed on the side where they found just this part up at the top. It showed where they found the bike helmet, and they showed the GPS had logged him from start to finish, like it was within the 5 miles that he traveled, right in his path. Like they were kind of linking him to the path of where the helmet was found. Linking some possibility as they're supposed to do. In an affidavit. She was a lovely woman. She was always smiling. That's the other thing. She had a lot of friends too. She had
what I found interesting, you mentioned the smiling part. What I found interesting is if you go all the way down, I think it's page like 106, where he's actually talking in an interview with one of the cops, and they're talking about some pictures, and he's like, in the pictures, she always seems drunk.
Yes,
in the pictures that they were showing, it was like, look, she appears drunk.
Yeah, but then they show pictures of him, and he's looking pretty. They're showing his affect. But let me. Here's the thing. If your wife is missing, you love your wife, you want your wife back. You're trying to give them information to find her. Is it necessary to disparage anyone's character at the time? I mean, that speaks more to Barry's motive to have them look more at what she was doing than what he was doing. That could be because of the trouble in the marriage. That could be because he's tired of being the bad guy, and she looked, granted, she's smiling all the time. She has great relationships with her children, her family, her friends. She looks like the good one, right? Outwardly to the public. And when you're having marital problems, it's not always that way. It takes two people to have a really contentious relationship. It's not like there's like one being good and one being bad. You're both usually being pretty awful if it's a contentious relationship, the way it was explained by many friends, many neighbors, many co-workers, and the children themselves said that their relationship at the time was contentious. It was not good. There was stress on both sides. They should not be around each other. They weren't good for each other. I just don't know, why he's got to say things like that. I don't see any pictures where she looked drunk. I don't know why looking happy means drunk.
Yeah, I looked at the pictures that was with that section, and like, she didn't appear drunk to me, but it's kind of hard to see in a black and white.
I don't know. I could put a poll up. When you're drunk, do you look happy or do you just look awful? I'm going to tell you when I'm drunk, I might sound happy, but I probably look horrible. I don't think I look happy when I'm drunk at all.
You'd have to ask Raven. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, right. Who remembers? Like, everybody, ask your family and friends. Send opinions. But I'm sure we all sound happy and everything. But I don't think we actually look. I'm thinking the picture actually. If you look right, Jay. Like, all right, I'm going to be a little. Okay, I'm going to be a little petty here. I have to say, but here he is in the interview that Jay is talking about his wife not looking drunk in all the pictures, and that's what he's looking like while he's talking about it. What's going on there? And I'm saying, no, Barry, you look drunk. I'm sorry, sorry, Barry, you look a little drunk to me there. Like, no, don't be doing that because that could go both ways. That could go both ways.
I want your opinion. Do you think
Mine?
Barry did it?
Mine. Oh, you're going to ask me straight out, are you?
Yep, straight out. Do you think Barry did it? Or let me rephrase that question. Do you think they have enough evidence to prosecute Barry for this? That would probably be better. Come on, could you answer both? Let's do that. We'll answer both because
okay. Yeah. And chat, please join us if you're brave enough, and you can change your opinion at any time because I can guarantee that I am so fascinated by this case. This is not the last you're going to hear about this. Like as we get up to more evidential hearings, like the more that comes out, the more you're going to hear, and we can change as it grows. So if you're brave enough. Believe me, we're not convicting him or anything. You can go ahead and vote in there. It's all speculation, allegation. We know that, besides my channel's so small, nobody's going to use it against him. Don't worry about it.
Do you think Barry did it? Yes or no? And do you think there's enough to prosecute? Yes or no?
No.
You think he did it, but you don't think there's enough evidence?
I think the evidence is there, but the evidence can be manipulated to mean something else. I think there's enough with the type of evidence that it is and how some of it has been tainted that it could show the other side a different point altogether. So thinking like a defense attorney, I think I could get that damn case tossed. But I'm not an attorney. I would try like hell to get that case tossed on that alone. I don't think he's going to be convicted through this trial. Now, whether they bring another trial for him up, I don't know. I am thinking that they may, if they get enough of this evidence tossed because of the way it was handled, there won't be enough to go forward. They're going to have to drop the case, and then it's going to go back to grand jury. All speculation here. This is just my mind. This is just me laying out some fantasy of a Morphew case as I might predict it might happen. And I could be wrong 100%. In a way, I kind of hope I am, because what a waste of judicial process.
Now, I'm in the same boat with Raven here. I am torn because I can see where he did it, but I can also see where he didn't do it. And I agree with her. I don't think there's enough evidence to convict.
I will admit that I am basing that I think he did it. A lot of it is not just the evidence. I think there's a lot of evidence there. Some of it circumstantial, some of it doubtful, some of it like banging to me. As far as that whole hotel and the bags of stuff that he was getting.
We didn't even get into the hotel. Clorox.
So basically, but you asked me a question, so I got to take it all into consideration. You didn't tell me to only consider what we said here.
Yeah, I get that. I just thought it was funny. We didn't even bring up the freaking chlorine and the bleach.
The other thing that really resonates with me is Barry Morphew's effect in interviews, in statements, in everything that he does, everything that everybody says about him, his character interviews from friends, co-workers, employers, business partners, family, okay? Who he associates with now, that might be his new girlfriend, who's already got a TRO against her and a couple of charges for stalking, who may have been involved all the time. We could talk about that in another visit. But based on all of this other information that I see, based on a lot of the videos that I watch from the other true crime, not so much their opinion, but every time somebody puts Barry Morphew on screen, I'm watching. And I don't like what I see. And I will admit that I am saying that I think he did it a lot based on that. A lot based on how Barry is acting about the whole thing. there's something about it that unnerves me. There's something to me that doesn't seem right. And I'm not saying there's factual. I'd like to be more evidentiary than that. I'd like to say I have hard facts to back that up. But 50% of my guilty is on that. The other 50 is on the evidence that, like, what do you need to clean the room with bleach for, Barry? What do you need 7 garbage bags over to the dumpster for, Barry? Why'd you go in and out of your vehicle 7 times within 30 minutes, emptying shit out into the dumpster, Barry? Like, Barry, your GPS says you were there. Yo,
Now,
Barry.
I can tell you from experience, as a contractor, because I worked construction for a few years, your truck can get dirty. So there's a possibility with the opening and closing at the dumpster, he was just cleaning out his truck. Now,
Yeah, but the
was he
bags were
cleaning
coming
out
from
evidence?
the hotel room. They were coming from the hotel room, Jay. Wait,
I'm just saying.
there's video evidence.
I'm just saying, as a former construction worker, I know your truck can get pretty dirty.
I love how you do this. I love because you make me think about it. You make me think about it really hard. But those bags came from the hotel into the truck and then to the garbage. It wasn't like he was cleaning out, like the whole gang was there and had lunch and he had to clean up the McDonald's for the day. That's not exactly the what they're portraying on the evidence there, But I do agree with always. I'm going to pin this because here I am. I think that he had motive. I do think he had motive. I think it had come to the point where he knew she was bolting. She had found something else and she didn't want to stay anymore. And I don't think the evidence can quite be there. I do. I'm right there with you always. But it's just, I don't want to, it's not nice to say you're basing it on because you don't like the way somebody's acting, but it is it's very sus, Jay. It's just
it's very suspicious. I mean, there is a lot of suspicious activity, but I said I don't know if they've got enough evidence to convict.
Well, that's it.
That's what will be interesting on December 14th when then they go to the evidentiary trial,
right?
To see what evidence they can bring out.
I'll be very, very interested in reading what the judge has to say about the evidence in that case and what stays and what goes, and see how far the defense pushes it and how hard the prosecution can fight for it. This now you've got to the point where this is what I really, really like. When they go back and forth with the legal stuff back and forth, like we know we actually know what they're talking about. We know they're talking about this DNA evidence. Like we know how important it is and what it'll mean if it stays in or it goes out. Like that part's fascinating to me.
Now, I think the interesting thing is if you look at what I do, I look at cases where we know the beginning, the middle, and the end. And so when I do my videos, the ones that I'm doing so far, I have a start, a finish, and an ending. We've got the evidence here. What I like coming into these with you is we're right in the middle.
Yeah.
There's no end game yet. So it's all speculation. It's interesting to see the evidence being brought forth. It's just interesting to see motions being set forth by the prosecution and the defense. Where if you look at the stuff that I do, it's all there. It's all black and white. We know what happened, where it happened, who did it,
It's like at that point, it's more opinion and commentary about something that's already happened. At this part, which I really like, I'm glad people are joining us for these streams. And so, we're building up a few people that are actually following along with this. I get DMs on people that are actually following the case and ask questions because it's the ride. It's the journey. This is exciting for me. Like, this is what I like. I have friends I talk to about this stuff all the time. And so it's like part of who I am on a daily basis anyway. So I'm really happy to share it with you, Jay, and with everybody in the chat and anybody on YouTube that wants to talk to me about it. Like, hit me up because. So
in reference to an earlier question about how I am drunk, Raven says Jay's an overly happy drunk.
Oh, are you? Does he have that big grin like Suzanne wears? Because she just seems to have such a genuine affect about her, that big grin. I can't imagine that's just drunk. Everybody just says she's warm and exciting and also a very religious, spiritual person too. I can't imagine her being like, I mean, she drinks wine and everything, but I can't imagine.
Normally, I wouldn't take into consideration a person's religious belief into a case like this.
But with her, I think it matters because
going back to the Ecuador thing, if she was a religious person, she wouldn't do something like that to her kids. Now, like I said, I only brought
Yeah,
that up because it was thrown out there, but someone
because
who's religious like that and supposedly religious family is everything to her. Like I said, I don't believe she's in Ecuador, but I thought I would toss that in because it was something that
no,
I had
because it's
seen.
interesting, and that's
Yeah.
what this journey and fascination of watching this thing unfold is all about. Like looking at all those little pieces and the things that they say. But on that, I think if there's no other questions, let me just see.
No, there was
Most
nothing
people,
else there.
it does seem that most people are like us. They kind of lean in that, yeah, something might have happened there, but there's not a lot of evidence. That's
That's
not
why
a
I
lot
said
of
the
evidence.
the the
Hmm.
evidentiary hearing is going to be interesting to see what is
Hmm.
if they release the details, because sometimes they
Hmm.
won't release the details of the hearing. So it'll be
Right,
interesting to see if they release the details and what the details actually are.
right, right. Well, it's going to be good, and we'll be talking about this one again. I don't know if next week, but soon. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll be because there's so much more. I do want to get to that hotel, Jay. We got to
Yeah.
talk about the hotel. Like,
The
there's a lot.
hotel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
maybe
I'll try
some
to.
of the interviews.
It
Yeah,
was that chapter was the first video I'd seen on it, and he actually found the interview with the guy that was supposed to take over for Barry and go to the
right, right,
hotel room. That's the interview. I want to remember to try and grab that for next
right.
time because
Why don't
that
yeah,
is
we'll
an
do that.
interesting telling on
I
that
have
person.
their whole playlist that chapter on Morphew and a couple of others, the investigation room and a
Yeah.
few other people that I'll share with you. There are whole playlists out there of tons of things. But I'd like to, as we wrap up, I would like to also mention something totally different than true crime and legal drama. But it is that time of the year. It's the end of the year. And it is the holidays coming up. However you celebrate, whatever you celebrate, there's tons of different um, family celebrations going on at this time. And it's also a time, with Thanksgiving just passing, of reflection and what we're grateful for and how, we're thankful of just the things in our life. And one of our co-creators, someone that I do panel with sometimes, and I just think is a cool person, Cheshire Vic, started to do videos this week, bringing forth organizations that are doing good, people that are just representing or working for different organizations or just want to promote an organization that is just putting a little bit of good out there in the world. So I have linked down below in the description 3 particular organizations right now that I am not asking anyone to donate or put yourself in any bind, but to just check out. And if you feel like the cause is worthy, perhaps retweet it, spread it around. If you're a creator, the links have been approved for anyone to also share them and promote them. We're just trying to put a little feel good, a little goodwill back out there to help people get a voice out there for things that they are looking forward to. One of them is the first. One of them is an animal rescue site called Go Rescue, brought forward by a member of Cheshire's Discord, which tries to place the animal with the right home, not just any home, and does taking care of adopted animals and replacement. The second one is Love Like Crazy, which is Sue Elliott's organization that helps bereaved parents and the parents of fragilely medically disabled children. Which is a great foundation to check out. And there's things that you could do with that. We're not just talking monetary donations here. There's all types of ways to contribute if you like. And then for those of those that travel in the same circles that I do on Twitter and YouTube, there is the wish list listed below for Kathy Ann's granddaughter. Kathy Ann recently got custody of her granddaughter out of nowhere to help her daughter out into a terrible situation. And they weren't prepared, and the holidays are coming up, so they created a small wish list for the granddaughter to have some type of holiday. But please, feel no pressure. Well, if you want to share the links, you do. It's just my part to help Cheshire in her mission to do Goblin Does Good and for other small creators that are doing the same. And we want everybody to do what they're comfortable with. You'll never get any pressure from me either way. It's just I want to explain why it's down there and why we're talking about it. But thank you, Mrs. Cassandra. And on that, Jay, see you soon. Like
Well, yeah,
Wednesday?
because all
Yeah.
all all roads lead to hereticals this week over here on the Clear
Yes.
Channel.
I put my schedule up and apparently the rumors are true. I must be Australian, AJ. I mean, you're the only saving grace keeping me from being Australian now, right? Because
this week all roads lead to hereticals.
Because tomorrow I will have Am I the Asshole at 8 o'clock with Matthew, almost a good doctor, a member of the Six Pack team with me over there at Hereticals. And then on Wednesday, right, Jay? You and I, we're hooking up again on Hereticals channel this time.
For NXIVM Part 3. This is all roads lead to the money.
All roads lead to the money at Hereticals. Okay, but we're going to cover NXIVM. And then on Friday, of course, we have Six Pack panel there. And then I usually do a stream with Jen, Polymathic from Hereticals. We do the Tits Out stream. And then, of course, there's, mayhem. But it was funny to read my schedule for the week. Like,
I was like, oh, look, all path leads to Hereticals.
Yeah. Now I know how these rumors start. I'm doing it to myself. Why don't I just I'm just like, I should immigrate. That's it. Like, somebody needs to I need to find a place to go to Australia. I might as well just get it over with. I already sleep that way.
For me, Thursday, I'll probably be doing it at 7 instead of 7:30. I think that'll be a better time frame. Will be on my channel, True Serial, will be the story of baby Kate. It is from my hometown. It was one of the worst cases of murder in Michigan in 2015. So look forward to that one. I actually have met the mother on a couple of occasions. Not that I've actually talked to her, but I've helped because I did work some retail jobs. So I had actually seen her. So these are actual people I've seen in real life. I've been to the place, I've been to the places where the different things occurred. So this one's an interesting one for me. Next week on True Serial, we'll be doing Richard Pinkton, which is the pig farmer killer from British Columbia, Canada. So look forward to that one too.
Yeah. And for those of you, it's linked in the description below for Jay's channel. It's new, throw him a sub and put on that bell so you get it. The
2 videos in and I got 37 subscribers. So woo!
Yay! Yay! I'm proud to have been the first one because as soon as you said you were, I was like right there, boom. I think I was
it's funny because
I think Raven might have been the first one. I think
it was funny because I created the whole thing and then I sent it to my daughter and to Raven, and my daughter's like subbed, and then a couple days later she's like, I didn't get any notifications from your videos. I said, well, are you subbed? She's like, yeah, I subbed immediately. We went and looked on her phone, she wasn't subbed. She's like, what the hell?
then it probably was number 2 then instead of number 3. So, there you go. But
it was kind of funny. So but yeah, look forward to those. Baby Kate on Thursday. Wednesday NXIVM, and then next week Richard Pinkton, and next week's NXIVM, for those of you that are following us over there on Hereticals, next week is all about Allison Mack.
Yeah, that's hot mess.
That's a hot mess. That's true.
Ooh, Jay, I got some hot audio for you on that one.
Ooh.
Yes, I do. I found a goodie.
Good. So Allison Mack, next week's this week's isn't going to be very exciting. I mean, it's money.
Money is exciting. What are you talking about? Money is the root of all evil. It is where, oh gosh, man, how could you say that? Oh, we're going to have to change your mind about tomorrow. Come anyway. People, I don't lie. I'm not going to lie to you. Come and find out that Jay is absolutely wrong.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding because the Bronfman sisters were a huge part of the whole NXIVM thing. So yeah, this is, like I said, this is the money. With where the money came from, and then how the money was used. So
exactly, and the story of what they did with a lot of the money is fascinating itself. But on that, I'm going to. I think
I was just going to say with their getting him to talk to the Dalai Lama.
Yes, exactly. All of that money over there for that. Coffee is life, Mrs. Cassandra. I agree. Nice little jab at Jay there. Good girl.
Coffee's nasty.
No,
I think we should leave.
On that one, before we start arguing about the pizza too, I'm going to put the outro on before you can say anything else. Everybody, we will see you tomorrow and all during the week, and of course next week back here with another update. And
like True Crime Garage, True Crime all the time says, always keep your time ticking.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that's a good one. We need a slogan.
You should keep your own time ticking. That's from True Crime all the time. So
Yeah, don't give nobody else it. Okay. On that, all right. See you soon.